Hello, my name is Dr. Cheryl Wada. I am a board-certified allergy, immunology, and lifestyle medicine physician and a systemic Sjogren's patient. I'm so excited to be joining you today and sharing how you can get the most out of your virtual rheumatology visit. Tips from both someone who is a doctor and an autoimmune patient. That's me. I want to go over 3 overarching principles. We need to own our own story. We need to take the pressure off through preparation. We need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable and take back control. Modern healthcare is an industry, one that has succeeded in many ways. Our life expectancy has doubled over the last 100 years. Despite our successes, many times our encounters leave us feeling like the system is built for speed and greed. It's a system that seems to be stuck in survival mode. Complexity has replaced care. Sadly, though, it wasn't until I found myself in the position of patient rather than physician that I realized how much each added layer of complexity chipped away at the essence of what healthcare should be. It's an exchange of information. At times, it's incredibly personal, vulnerable information. But this exchange, when functioning well, requires significant openness and trust between the two parties. We have the person who is experiencing symptoms and has the lived experience. We call them the patient. Then we have the person who has advanced training, education, and experience or expertise in the healing. We'll call them the physician. When this exchange goes well, it has its own synergy. In these instances, that has its own therapeutic benefit. That's what we call the placebo effect. But the question really remains, how do we navigate the healthcare system without getting stuck in the overwhelm? Importantly, with the evolution of how we obtain our care, how can we make the most out of our virtual care visits? I hope there's a way that we can approach these appointments with confidence and clarity. My hope is that after this presentation, you will feel more confident and clear in what you need to do for your next virtual healthcare appointment. The first strategy is to own your own story. What do I mean by that? We need to avoid getting lost in the mix. Lost in that list of patients or thought of as a collection of diagnoses. We need to stand out rather than being buried in this excess of information. The reality is we're living in an information age. It's incredible that we can type our symptoms into Google and in less than a second, 100 million possible diagnoses appear. Of course, though, our human brains love to focus on that one terrible result. Now, your doctors have experienced information overload too, albeit a little differently. See, electronic medical records were billed to us as the solution to all of medicine's woes. At least it was supposed to make the medical student's job easier. It was our job to go gather all of those records from outside hospitals and clinics and bring them to the team. But now the average patient generates the equivalent of 40,000 pages worth of data each year. It's the average patient. And although the data is there, finding a pertinent note or result during a rushed office visit can be really challenging. It's not uncommon that this will lead to delays in care or repeat testing. To avoid getting lost, we need to own our own health history, both our narrative and also our medical records. What does this look like? I suggest we all keep a list of all the diagnoses, medications, procedures, hospitalizations, surgeries, test results. Write down when, where, and what was the outcome of either hospitalization, surgery, so on and so forth. You can ask for copies of your notes and or reports and read them. You also, before a visit, can ask how you can send those records or that summary ahead to the physician or the team that you're going to be taking care of. Although it seems like these systems should be able to communicate with one another, the reality is they don't do that very well. By taking control yourself, you are going to ensure that those people have access to your information ahead of time. You also can compile all this information into a summary of your health history and bring that with you to each of your appointments, whether in person or virtual. This is really going to help maximize that visit. Remember, these are living documents and they're a reflection of you and your health. I recently had a patient reach out to me through our electronic portal. She asked me why I labeled her with a particular diagnosis in my clinic note. She reminded me of a pertinent part of our conversation, and she voiced her concern that the diagnosis I used maybe didn't best reflect what she actually was dealing with. In the note, she was curious and inquisitive. She also gave me the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not gonna lie, I appreciated that. And after reviewing the notes, I totally agreed with her. I updated her records. What was helpful was she jogged my memory. She stood firm in her story. She also remembered that I was a fellow human being on the other end of that portal. Another strategy that can be incredibly helpful is symptom tracking. We need to take an active role in our own care. I tell my patients all the time that we both need to be scientists and come together to parse out what may be helping or what may be making your symptoms worse. Routinely tracking symptoms also provides us with kind of a status update. Where we are currently, where were you before, and where might be going. The reality is that health technology is on the verge of helping us predict when we might be flaring. This is really cool stuff. For instance, I wear an Oura ring. No, I don't get paid by them or anything, but it will tell me like when my heart rates are up, my temperatures are up. It will detect sometimes subtle changes that I myself may not be perceiving yet, so I can keep an eye on my health and what's going on. Your telemedicine practice may recommend or send you a blood pressure cuff or pulse oximeter or other similar device to obtain pertinent data for your visit. Companies like Isla Health, which I partner with and am speaking on behalf of today, are bringing together symptom tracking through app-type interfaces while integrating it with our health wearables, Oura Ring, Apple Watch, those sorts of things. They also are providing their patients with remote health monitoring tools. These all are used in an effort to provide really holistic autoimmune care, looking at all of you and helping your health in that way. The second strategy that we can take for effectively navigating our complex healthcare system is to take the pressure off through preparation. One of the perks of a televisit is that we can at least be in the comfort and safety of our own home. But for anyone who is technologically challenged, this may result in a little different kind of stressor, right? Medical visits in general tend to put us on alert. They trigger our fight, flight, and freeze response. This physiologic response makes it impossible for us to use our whole brains, and it impairs our ability to communicate fully. It makes it especially challenging when we're trying to share vulnerable or sensitive information. With her permission, I'd love to introduce you to one of the patients I am lucky enough to partner with, and her story may resonate with you potentially. Whitney is quite literally 1 in a billion, or maybe accurately 1 in several billion. I personally felt a huge sense of pride when I got to name each of my 3 children, but Whitney can brag that she actually got to help pick the name of her condition, which is Magus syndrome. Whitney was born prematurely. She had several joint and bone issues. She's in and out of the hospital dozens of times for severe recurrent infections, breathing, and blood cell problems. Eventually, she was referred to the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH, for an extensive evaluation. It was there that they finally figured out that the root cause of her symptoms was a genetic quirk. Only a handful of people across the globe have been found to have this genetic quirk since then. But here she was now in her early 30s, and she was about to get kicked out of the children's hospital where she had followed for decades. So here was Whitney, medically complex. She had multiple specialists involved in her care and health issues that certainly didn't read like the textbook. It sounds a lot like most of us who are dealing with autoimmune conditions like RA, like Sjogren's, etc. This is a situation where Whitney and I both could have very easily gotten stuck in the overwhelm. But this is one of those situations that admittedly is probably rarer than it should be, where I think everything went right. So here's what we did. Her pediatric team and I met ahead of time, and we reviewed the pertinent details of her extensive history and the most recent active issues that have been going on with her health. Whitney also prepared for her visit ahead of time. She brought her own health summary to the visit. She had a list of questions and current concerns. We made sure to schedule her for an entire hour-long visit to avoid that time crunch that sometimes can put the physician in fight or flight mode too. You can prepare for your visits in a similar type way. Here's what I suggest. When you first schedule the appointment, make sure to be upfront with the staff. If you have a complex history or you think that you may require a little extra time, you can ask, how long is a new patient appointment? If it doesn't seem like it's maybe quite enough time, you may let them know and ask if there's a possibility of having an extended visit, or if there's a particular time of day that the doctor may be able to spend a little bit more time with you for that visit. The next thing you can do is to take a few minutes before your visit, preferably in a place and a time where you feel at ease and in that calm, safe state. Think about what you need to communicate with your doctor. What symptoms are you experiencing? How long have they been going on? How are they impacting your life? What are you most worried about? Write down your questions too. Another strategy is to have an advocate with you. This may be a family member or a close friend. Even if you are alone at your visit though, you're going to have your health history summary, and you're also going to have your list of questions to help guide you along the way. Lastly, you can wrap up the visit by confirming the plan of action with your doctor. This will help ensure that you and your doctor each know the next steps and helps avoid misunderstandings and miscommunication. The human brain loves definitive answers, contrast like black and white, and really likes the logical and the rational. Our brains hate gray, hate uncertainty. It makes us feel anxious and unsafe. But when we avoid the overwhelm and we persist through all those roadblocks, when we get comfortable with the uncomfortable and take back control, then the results sometimes can be nothing short of life-changing, in some cases even life-saving. How does this look? It means pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone a bit, sometimes being a disruptor. Do you want to hear an extreme version? I want to introduce you to a story about a family named the Crawleys. Both of the Crawleys' 2 children were diagnosed with a rare degenerative disease called Pompey's disease. Without any known effective treatments for their condition, the only hope that they had for saving their children's lives was breaking through the typically decades-long process that accompanies drug discovery, development, and approval. That process was going to take way too long for their kids. So what did they do? They dug in, they quit their jobs, they moved across the country, they immersed themselves in the research, they advocated, crowdfunded, they fostered collaborations between academia and industry and government. They broke down those walls and those silos. The end result was not only did they have an FDA-approved treatment for their own children, but they also developed and discovered treatments for several other orphan diseases too. This is hard to believe, right? If it wasn't true, but it is. I'm not saying that we need to quit our jobs or immerse ourselves in the research, but we can each do our part. As a physician, I'm working on getting comfortable in the uncomfortable spaces, those places where no quick or easy solutions exist, like our broken healthcare system. But under the right conditions and with perseverance, who knows what's possible? Now, as a patient, what are some more actual tangible things that we can do? First of all, you need to know you deserve to be seen, heard, and believed. The reality is, though, that as physicians and patients, we are both navigating a system that is really broken, really siloed. Physician burnout is at an all-time high. 62% is the most recent figure. Burnout results in poorer care for patients. That's the reality. You may need to put in some extra work and effort to find the care team that is the right fit for you. I encourage you to make that uncomfortable call to advocate for yourself. Know that you can push back if something just doesn't sit right with the recommendations that you're given. Or if you need a better explanation, it's okay to ask for it. You also can schedule a third, fourth, fifth, 10th opinion. I understand that takes time, energy, and money, but that is within your rights. You also can partner with organizations that are built on values that align with your own. That's in part why I have been really excited to partner with Isla Health. They're really focused on taking great care of patients with autoimmune conditions and really doing that with a healthcare team, working with a health coach, a registered dietitian, physicians that are trained to ensure that you are seen, heard, and believed, to utilize technology to help us also get you the best care you can. One thing you can do, they have a free app you can download to start tracking your symptoms. You can think about scheduling an appointment with them. They currently are seeing patients for kind of full services in California and Colorado, more to come. And you can work with their other health aspects of their healthcare team and program throughout the United States as well. I want to thank you all so much for this time and ability to talk with you. I want to share a quote that I think has really resonated with me over this last several years as a physician and autoimmune patient. The oak fought the wind and was broken. The willow bent when it must and survived. Really, it's that resilience that we need to do our best with. If you would like to keep in touch, this QR code is going to bring you to my link in bio, so you can subscribe to my email, check out my podcast, YouTube channel, and other resources that I provide. We'll have some great things in the digital goodie bag for you as well. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I look forward to our question and answer session. Take care.